Hi, I'm Shirley. I am a Partnerships Associate here at VaynerMedia, and my power is, hard question, but I want to say just finding the positive in things, even though I am a fatalist. So when I say I'm a fatalist, it means that I always see the worst possible outcome. So for example, obviously work. I'm always thinking about, oh God, am I gonna come into work and get fired today? Like that's my first like thought every single day I wake up. But luckily I'm still here. So that hasn't happened yet. But when it comes to other things like involving other people, I'm able to find like positive sides to like their situation. So I guess the fatalism is only revolving around me. The greatest power women have, I want to say it's just the ability to make things like work out for them. Just because we've seen in the past, we've kind of been put down a lot, I want to say, whether it's in the work field or just like in school or just with different environments. For example, I am a computer science major, and I remember one of my professors would purposefully like just ignore me and the other girl who was in my class. Like we were the only two girls, but we were able to overcome that, pass the class, thankfully, with a lot of studying and just like hard, I guess, power in our own sense. So I want to say it's just being able to overcome just any obstacle that gets in our way. I guess it's a bit different for me because I am like first generation here in America. So it's been difficult to balance just like lifestyle, like time with my mom, time at school, time at work, and just be able to like devote myself, for example, completely to work. For example, I always feel obligated to stay with my mother no matter what. So for school, I wasn't able to like leave the city or like leave the state to go to a SUNY or like an out-of-state school. When it comes to work, I'm not able to exactly participate in all of the events that we have going on. So sometimes I know like that's a setback for people. However, I think just being able to have my power and just find a positivity in things, as well as just like the sheer grit to bulldoze through whatever may come. I think if you're trying to still figure out who you are and what your power is, definitely try everything. We're in an age where social media is so large, and we have people like romanticizing their life all the time, like getting up at 5 a.m. and like just having a 5 to 9 before their 9 to 5. When it comes to things like that, I would definitely, for me, like I tried practicing like that mindset, and also just like kind of embodying the people that I wanted to be. And I learned a lot about myself during that time because I learned like, okay, I am absolutely not a morning person. I will never be caught dead waking up at 5 a.m. ever again. 7 a.m. maybe. But when it comes to just like finding out who you are, you just have to keep trying different things. And I think women around the world are doing this amazingly by sharing their stories. Everybody's very different in terms of your past and the path that you're on. So your story might be different from mine. Like you might be working like a nighttime job from, let's say, like 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. That's completely different from mine, but you're on your own path. And I think that's what's so important, is to share that so everybody can kind of get that understanding of like, hey, I can continue going down my road, but if I do want to branch out and try something new, I'm not going to be the only person, like I won't be alone in this like situation where I want to try something new. And during that time, I ignored everyone. Like Hinge, I ignored that. My best friends, I ignored them. Well, not really ignored them, but like, just didn't prioritize them as much as I did. My mom, she's like the biggest person in my life, or like the only person in my life, because she's my only family. I've put like work and like other activities above her, and I have like during that time period, I was at my lowest because like I wasn't truly alone, because there were people around me, but it was just like being in that mindset of like needing to do X, Y, and Z to be able to live and just like get through the day, just deprioritized everything that I held important in my life. So even though I wasn't exactly alone, it just felt like there was nobody that I could talk to, because I didn't want to bear my problems onto like anybody else, if that made sense. 10-year-old me would think that I'm the coolest person in the world. This is coming from a 10-year-old me who wanted to do like just creative art related things. So either crafting, knitting, like plushies, anything that's cute that you can think of. I want to say that 10-year-old me will think I'm the coolest today because just of where I am, I don't think when I was 10 I ever expected to be where I am now. When I was 10-year-old, I'll give you like some background. My mom and I, we were like actually living in poverty. I was super underweight because we couldn't afford to eat. And then I would go with my mom everywhere. We used to live in Brooklyn, so my mom, she's a single mother. She would go to work, and then on days that she could bring me, she worked in like a factory to like put clothes together. So on the days that she could bring me, she would bring me. I hope the law doesn't come for us for this. But and then whenever an inspector came around, I remember like having to hide into like the big clothes pile so that we wouldn't get in trouble. But she did that because there was no one to watch over me at the time, and I was like way too young. But around like 10, I was able to kind of like, you know, grow a bit and be a little more mature so I could be home alone. But I remember like when I was home alone, all I ever wanted was to like just spend time with my mom. So, oh my god, I'm gonna yeah, so I would always wait for her to come home, and it would just be like the saddest thing because I felt like a puppy dog. So we lived on the first floor of this house, and we were in the front of the house, if that makes sense. And what would happen is she worked late hours, so she would leave at like 7 a.m. to travel from Brooklyn into Manhattan, and then she'd get off work at like 7 p.m. and get home around 8 or 9 sometimes. So every single time I would come home alone from school, and it made me so lonely when I saw all the parents picking up their kids and it was just me. Like, my school didn't know it at the time, like my mom wasn't there. Like, I would always just point and be like, oh yeah, that person's my mom, and then I just leave because I lived right across the street. But yeah, I would wait for my mom at the window like a dog or a puppy and just watch her on her way home.
How do you think that has made you stronger as a woman?
It really set like my values. It let me know what my value. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I'm actually gonna cry. Why did you do this? No, but as a woman, it gave me like my personal goals and like my values. So at the age of 10, like I wanted to do all things artistic, but somewhere around 10 I realized like that's not gonna make me money enough to like take care of my mom so she didn't have to work. So it really like just set the level of like what I need to do and like the mindset that I have to be on. This is crazy. Oh my god, it's like a therapy session. But yeah, I think it was really important to go through that experience because now I know who to prioritize. Like I know exactly like what's worth my time and what's not worth my time. And I think as a woman, that's very important because there's just so many things that you have to deal with, like your own mental health. You have to deal with, oh, excuse me, I'm gonna say it, like dumb people that you see on like the dating apps. And then like sometimes you have work things that you just have to prioritize, but knowing where your borders are or like where to draw your lines is just like the most important thing that I've learned. Happy Women's History Month from VaynerMedia and VaynerX.